Please be seated. Justice Hudson, Dr. Sullivan, Dr. Plum, members of our Law School Board of Governors, faculty, administrative leaders, and staff of the School of Law, graduates of the class of 2016, and honored guests, welcome to you all. A special welcome for our guests from warmer climates. We welcome you to what we refer to in Minnesota as spring. I trust the warmth of our hospitality will take just a bit of the edge off the chill today. Today is a day to celebrate. We honor and congratulate our graduates. This should also be a day of prayerful gratitude. Thanks to God for the gifts of your many talents, for all that you have achieved and received during your time at St. Thomas. Gratitude for the lifelong friendships you have formed here. Gratitude for our law school community and the mission that serves as our foundation, for the opportunity to integrate your deepest commitments and core values into your professional lives. And most important, gratitude for the family and friends who have supported you. You are the class of 2016. You chose St. Thomas, a law school dedicated to educating the whole person as the first stage of what will be a career-long journey of professional formation. Over 3 years, our school has undoubtedly shaped you, but you have also shaped our school. You've come from all over the country and all over the world to contribute to a distinctive law school community that educates students to be morally responsible leaders who think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully to advance the common good. When you entered St. Thomas, we were the newest of 4 law schools in Minnesota. Now, as you graduate, we're the second oldest. I don't know how you did it, but that is quite an accomplishment on your part. You've shown intelligence and spunk inside our classrooms. You've been challenged by all of our professors, inspired by many, and terrified by a few. You argued and won yet another case before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. You've worked for the reform of the federal clemency system. You've advocated for the immigrant, for the elderly, for the poor. You've filed briefs with the U.S. Supreme Court on behalf of religious liberty. You've carried forward the message that Black Lives Matter and brought attention to the racial disparities that pervade our criminal justice system. You spent time at the United Nations working on behalf of the Catholic Church to promote human rights. You've been busy in non-academic pursuits too. While St. Thomas has beaten our crosstown rivals at the University of Minnesota Law School on employment numbers, you've also bested them on perhaps the most important measure of human flourishing in Minnesota, hockey. Under your leadership, our fighting apostles have dominated. You've shown such a commitment to your classmates that some of you have even decided to marry each other. To be clear, we do not require that of our alumni, but we certainly do not discourage it. We are grateful for the many ways in which you have helped build this law school, shaped the nature of our community, advanced our mission, and shown a degree of, how shall I put it, personality that has been welcome and energizing for us. As your dean, and on behalf of the faculty, staff, trustees, and board of governors, I extend our thanks and gratitude. Before we proceed any further, I'd like to introduce our platform party to you. From your right to your left, we begin with Dr. Sullivan, who is the president of the university. Sitting next to her is Dr. Plum, the provost of the university. Next to Dr. Plum is Justice Natalie Hudson, who will be our keynote speaker today. And next to Justice Hudson is Sarah Berengian, who will be our student speaker today. And then finally, Brian Short, who is representing the School of Law's Board of Governors. Please welcome our distinguished guests. I now invite a member of our faculty, Father Dan Griffith, to deliver the invocation.
Good and gracious God, we bless and praise your holy name, for you, O Lord, are the source of all that is good. Out of nothing you fashioned the beauty of creation and ordered it according to your divine wisdom. We stand before you today with hearts full of gratitude for your generous bounty, for your providential care, and for the lives and gifts of our graduates. Today, in a special way, we thank you for the gift of wisdom and truth, and for the gift of law. Bless these law graduates today and throughout their lives as they seek to serve you and their neighbor. Help them to be good stewards of the law, so they may generously serve those around them, especially the poor and marginalized. Send your guiding spirit upon them, the spirit of wisdom and courage. Help them integrate into their lives and their work faith and reason as they pursue the truth that comes from you. Help them live virtuous and authentic lives that give glory to you, O God. Cultivate their hearts so that they may be humble and merciful, and cultivate their minds so they may discern your wisdom and act with prudence. May these graduates bear much fruit through their work in this noble profession, and may they help direct the law to the goals of justice and the common good. We make this humble prayer to you, our just and merciful God. Amen.
Thank you, Father Griffith. Before we proceed to our next speaker, let me call your attention to our commencement program. Each of you should be able to find your favorite member of the class of 2016 listed in the program with their prior undergraduate and graduate degrees. This long list of names might seem just that, a long list of names. But we know better. Each name you see is the center of someone's world. And speaking on behalf of our faculty and staff, we try to remember that every day we get to spend with them. Each one of these graduates has contributed in unique ways to our law school community and rightly deserves our congratulations. But let me take a brief moment to call your attention to several students who deserve special recognition. In your program, we first list and recognize those students who are likely to achieve high academic honors, the just reward for 3 years of truly exceptional academic performance and achievement. On the next page, we list the students who have logged at least 100 hours of service to our community, and several who dedicated literally hundreds of hours to public service. As many of you know, our School of Law is distinctive in requiring its students to dedicate a certain number of hours, at least 50, to community service. The graduates who have performed more than 100 hours have gone above and beyond our law school vision that we are all asked by God to serve others, particularly those who are most in need of our care. We then list the graduates who have volunteered more than 50 law-related service hours under the auspices of the Minnesota Justice Foundation. Together, the class of 2016 has performed more than 10,000 hours of public service during their time in law school. On behalf of the many people you have served, we extend our sincere thanks. Finally, we highlight those students whose contributions to our distinctive mission have been so excellent that we presented them over the past 3 years with our mission awards. These students have embodied our mission of integrating faith and reason in the search for truth through a focus on morality and social justice. Please join me in congratulating these students for their academic achievement, their leadership, and their service. I would next like to take a moment to thank the class of 2016 for one more important contribution. Like the previous classes, this class has presented the School of Law with a class gift. More than 93% of the class have contributed, and they have stepped forward and generously presented the School of Law with not one, but 2 gifts. First, a public interest summer fellowship, which will go to one of our own law students next summer who works in the public interest. Second, a tangible gift. This year's class gift has helped fund a large video monitor for use in our law school atrium. This will greatly enhance the events in the law school's signature space. I would especially like to thank the 3Ls who have led the successful fundraising for the class of 2016 gifts. Cynthia Sam, Jenny Tripp, Megan Marty, Dana Hoffman, Katie Gross, Nick Leben, Rachel Davis, Chris Clark, James Robbins, and Jacob Ray. Thank you for your excellent and diligent work, and thank you, Class of 2016, for these gifts. I am now pleased to introduce Sarah Berengian. The members of the Class of 2016 selected Sarah to address our graduation ceremony on their behalf, and an inspired choice you have made. During her time here at the law school, Sarah has performed over 1,000 hours of community service. For those of you who, like me, are struggled in math, let me put it this way. That's the equivalent of working 6 months of a full-time job while going to law school. One of her professors, Professor Bowser, commented that Sarah began law school as, quote, a terrified 1L, but has grown into a self-aware, self-assured, and fully authentic professional. Despite being extremely busy, I understand that she found time to make Valentine's Day cards for her classmates every year. I say I understand because I never actually received one from Sarah, but I am not at all bitter about that fact. So a word to Sarah's family, particularly her mom, Patty Joe, and her dad, Hamid. You should be very proud of your daughter. She has shown excellent leadership at our school, has formed strong friendships, and has worked hard. Not only is she going to make the world a better place, she has already made the world a better place. And let me make a broader point. The reason I've spent a couple of minutes telling you about Sarah is to underscore the fact that every single one of our graduates has a story to tell. A story of hard work, of achievement mixed with frustration, and of a vocation that calls them to use their gifts to advance the common good. We do not have time for each one of these amazing graduates to share their stories, so they've selected Sarah to speak for them all. So now, Class of 2016, please welcome your choice to speak on your behalf, Sarah Berengian.
A few months ago, when I was on a study break, I ran into Matthew McConaughey at the local Starbucks up the street. He gave me some advice for when I'm feeling nervous. He told me to tell everyone before I start how I felt, so I'm just going to start by telling you guys I am incredibly nervous right now. Thank you, Dean Fisher, and thank you all for coming. What a great turnout. The traffic must not have been that bad on the way in. Oh, it's because my girl, the famous Professor Levy Pounds, is over in the audience here. She must not have been blocking any freeways. It's truly, truly an honor to be standing here as your class commencement speaker and your class valedictorian. For those of you who don't know, these last 3 years, I've been in a constant state of confusion. I'm terrified of public speaking, and I had reoccurring nightmares about being called on in class all of my 1L year. Between my fake coughs, positioning my laptop in front of my face, and writing someone else's name instead of my own on the seating chart, all of these things to reduce my chances of getting called on, it's pretty ironic that I'm now standing here today. With my lack of participation in class also comes my procrastination. Last night, when I was sitting up trying to think of something to say to you guys, I couldn't really think of much. That's when I realized that I had literally no other option than to drive to school, break into the dean's suite, and try to find old commencement speeches to give myself some inspiration. I started looking around, and you guys will never believe what I came across. Did you know that our very own professors have been keeping a class of 2016 diary about us? I mean, they might call it a diary, but after reading what they had to say about us, I would consider it more of a burn book. After all the cold calling and public humiliation you put us all through, I think it's only fair we read a few excerpts to see what they really think about us.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, Sarah. You're going to read the excerpts from the professors. I think it's only fair that we also read some excerpts from the student diaries. Do you think that's fair?
John, okay, John. I mean, I guess I think that's fair.
And Sarah, you do realize since you were voted class speaker, that doesn't necessarily mean you're class valedictorian, right?
I mean, I thought I had a 4.0.
You know what? We'll go to the diaries. We'll go to the diaries. Let's go to the diaries.
All right, well, we'll go to the diaries. All right, well, let's start with orientation, first week. This one's from Scott Swanson. I told the 1Ls in class today that despite professors telling them that excellence is their aspirational goal, they will experience all sorts of stuff that is probably not excellence. It's being human. That's why I make sure to give out my phone numbers the first day of class. And then I wait for the middle of the night phone calls from jail.
From Caitlin Dragamiller. Dear Diary, I never thought the embodiment of the mission would come in the form of a man in a Hawaiian shirt and a ponytail. When they say first year they scare you to death, they were right. I'm scared.
This next one's from Dr. Reed. It's that time of year again. I'm so excited to have my contracts class over for my annual pool party. But I still don't know what kind of pizza to order. I think I'll go with something safe, like anchovy, mushroom, olive, and pineapple pizza. I think 9 of them will be enough.
From Lucy Zhao. Although A section seemed great with all those open note exams and handsome Rob Maloney, I wouldn't trade a pool party at Professor Reed's house for the world. You really can't beat that pizza. Playing Professor Reed's rendition of Marco Polo as offer
Acceptance.
and synchronized swimming lessons inspired by the mirror image rule.
Here's one from Professor Osler. It is really important that my students understand what work-life balance looks like. People think I meet with President Obama to talk about commutations, but really I'm just trying to pass the presidential fitness test, hoping for a 17 on the sit and reach today.
From Gustavo Ortiz. I see Professor Osler getting so much recognition for his work, but I only see him in the hallway wearing gym clothes. I'm glad my tuition dollars are going towards his YMCA membership. Talk about work-life balance. Fit and a scholar, he is my hero.
Ooh, even the librarians got in on this burn book. This one's from one of our favorite, Valerie Egrabeck. I have a great idea for lawyering skills too. I'll have the students write a 25,000 word research log. The skills the students will learn will be so useful. They'll be thanking me later, just like they thank their third grade teachers for teaching them cursive and long division.
From Rose Dubs. What is a Boolean search and why is Valerie putting exclamation points after every word? Why is she so excited?
Oh, this next one's from Professor Organ. Foundations of Justice is such an important class. Today's lecture is going to be on Judge Patrick Schilt's article on being a happy, healthy, and ethical member of an unhappy and unethical profession. I hope the students take this one seriously.
Michael McSherry. Today, I got confused as to whether I walked into my Foundations of Justice class or Professor Organ's ugly sweater party. Between the big gulp and the sweaters, it's really tough to concentrate. The only thing I remember from today's lesson is that lawyers are 87% more likely to become alcoholics. Which gets me thinking, what's an Organ's big gulp? Uh-oh. This one's from Dean Nichols. I can't believe it's the second year for the class of 2016. I've sent all of the pre-semester emails out, including a few disciplinary emails about violations of the honor code. I hate to have to share bad news. When I heard the students really bonded after their 1L year by taking one of those really fun party buses on a field trip to Stillwater. I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. Jake Teedy. Party bus? What party bus? Who is Dean Nichols, and why does he keep sending us emails about what I did over the summer?
Oh, good. Now we have one from Professor Call. Now that the two sections are combined, today's gunner matchup, drum roll please, Mr. Cook and Mr. Yenter versus Mr. Oswald and Miss Rondoni.
Guys, please, please, please. It's not hard. Let's IRAC. Section B1, Miss Rondoni, what is the issue?
The issue is whether my professor is an international supermodel.
Mr. Cook, what is the rule?
The general rule is people with accents are inherently more attractive than people who don't have accents.
Mr. Yenta, here, comma.
Here, comma, a professor has an accent and he is not afraid to use it.
And therefore, Mr. Oswald?
And therefore, Professor Call may be an international supermodel. I guess I'm still not sure.
Bing, bang, boom. Nice job, guys.
This next one's from Professor Hamilton. I am so happy that I decided to incorporate clicker questions in my professional responsibility class. I think my students are really starting to get the hang of it. There are two people I do worry about, though.
Christian Kircher and Omid Berengian. We're so glad we took Professor Hamilton's professional responsibility class before taking the MPRE. Based on our roadmap and competency skills, our future is really looking bright. Now we just have to pass the MPRE. They say third time's a charm.
Good luck, you guys. Good luck. You're good.
Here's a good one from third year, Cynthia Sam. They say first year they scare you, second year they work you, and third year they bore you. That can't be true when they're offering such riveting courses like federal estate and gift tax, electronic discovery, and administrative law. I just wish they offered advanced foundations of justice.
Oh, this one will be good. It's from Judy Rush. Wow, I can't believe these 3Ls still can't figure out how to properly log their mentor hours. It's been 3 years, and they can't navigate the straightforward 67-page mentor externship manual. I really worry about them in the real world.
Alex Johnson. Today I received 4 emails from Judy Rush about not finishing my mentor hours this semester. Do I even deserve to graduate? I'll have to write her an email. Dear Judy, my mentor has been out of the country all semester. Do I still have to meet with him in person? Do you know how much a ticket to Dubai is? And can I count that as travel time?
Oh, here's a good one from Luann Hudson. I'm worried about our 3L students not completing their 50 hours of community service before they graduate. Come on, you guys. You had 3 years and you're going to wait until the last minute?
From Public Service Board President William Strand. I write this post with a heavy heart. I just found out I have 10 more hours left to complete the public service requirement. Man, instead of dedicating my last 3 years to ending world hunger, I should have just sang in the law school choir. And this last entry from the student diary is from today, May 14th, by our very own Sarah Berengian.
Thanks, John. I came into law school with a purpose to serve. I don't know what that purpose is going to look like once I leave here, but I now realize that my purpose here was to serve in the moments. Thank you to my professors, and thank you to my classmates for giving me the opportunity to do just that. There are certain parts of law school that are always going to be a reality. It's going to be competitive, and it's going to be stressful. There's always going to be someone with better grades, someone who's better at public speaking, and someone who's going to get more OCI interviews. But there is no one better at being yourself than you. Our professors, our mission, and our community encouraged us to offer the world what we were uniquely created to offer. To be kind, to be creative, to challenge each other, to realize the profession is not just a profession. We are more than just lawyers. We serve a much greater purpose. My 91-year-old grandpa, who is here right now, I hope he can hear me right now, has taught me so much. He is a World War II veteran who earned a Purple Heart after fighting in the Battle of the Bulge. Despite all the hardship he has faced, he has always taught me one simple lesson. When you share, you always get more. When we share ourselves and our hearts, we free people from their doubt and allow them to be the best versions of themselves. One of the most rewarding things in life is authentically knowing someone for who they truly are and allowing them to be free in that. When we share, we always get more. I look forward to watching what you all do in your careers. But above all else, I'm so excited to watch all of you live out your purpose. We learn so much from the people that we love. To all of our loved ones, thank you. I'm not sure we should be honoring ourselves today or honoring all of you who have supported us. Without your support, we all wouldn't be sitting and standing here right now. Thank you to our professors who are dedicated to the mission of creating good people, not just good lawyers. We are better people today because of you. Thank you. Lastly, thank you to my classmates. I never thought my unique personality would ever be so well accepted in a community of such prestige. But now I realize that we are not just a group of law students. Every single one of you is so unique and beautiful in your own way. I genuinely love each and every one of you, and I'm borderline obsessed with a few of you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life's journey. Congratulations, class of 2016. We did it! Cheers to my classmates. Today we celebrate you. Congratulations and go get 'em.
So if you are not a member of the class of 2016 and you're wondering what just happened there, let me refresh your recollection about the opening when I said this class had what I called personality. That was a shining example of that. So thank you, Sarah, and thank you, John. It's now my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Justice Natalie Hudson. And I'm pretty sure that Justice Hudson is not going to call up a surprise guest from the audience, but at this point I can't guarantee anything, so we'll see. It is a real pleasure to be able to introduce a person who has committed her professional life to improving access to justice and upholding the rule of law. Justice Hudson joined the Minnesota Supreme Court last year, appointed by Governor Mark Dayton. Since 2002, she had been a judge on the Minnesota Court of Appeals. Prior to joining the judiciary, she worked as a legal aid attorney, as a litigator at a large law firm, as a law school administrator, as the St. Paul City Attorney, and as an appellate lawyer with the Minnesota Attorney General's office. Just reading her bio can make me feel very unproductive. She has a BA from Arizona State and a JD from the University of Minnesota, where she served on the Law Review and was editor of the law school newspaper. Upon her appointment to the Supreme Court, Minnesota State Bar Association President Michael Unger, a past litigation adversary of Justice Hudson, remarked, quote, "Even while doing battle with her in litigation, I could tell she was a person with a clear sense of justice and one who chose to join the legal profession for all the right reasons." From what I know of the class of 2016, joining the legal profession for all the right reasons is something they have in common with our speaker. Please join me in welcoming Justice Natalie Hudson.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is just wonderful to be here, and to Dean Vischer, thank you so much for that warm and gracious introduction and welcome. Let me get this down to my height. Hang on. But to Dean Vischer, faculty, staff, and most especially graduates, your parents, your aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, siblings, and friends, what a wonderful occasion this is, and I am delighted to be here to share it with you. You know, it's been said that every accomplishment starts with a decision to try. Well, you all made that decision. you made the decision a few years ago to try to embark on an unfamiliar, challenging journey called law school. It tested your character and forced you to grow and stretch in ways you never could have imagined. But you made it. Here you are, and congratulations on a job well done. And while I'm on the topic of congratulations, I want to point out, if you're to the families and friends that are here, if your graduates haven't told you already, and you heard Dean Vischer refer to this earlier, but the St. Thomas School of Law is the top law school in Minnesota for employment outcomes. A greater percentage of the class of 2015 was employed in full-time, long-term, JD-required employment 10 months after graduation. That says much about this law school. Yes, absolutely. That says much about the caliber of your dean, your faculty, and your staff, and yourselves. You were also ranked by the Princeton Review, your professors were, as being number 7 on the Princeton Review's list of best professors. That says much about the faculty and the caliber of this law school. Again, congratulations. And so this is indeed a special occasion, and there will be lots of celebrations and parties, and rightly so. But graduates, as you're celebrating with your family and friends, I encourage each of you to find a quiet moment sometime today, maybe tomorrow, to really soak it all in, to appreciate what you accomplished, and to mark this pivotal moment in your lives. It's been a long road. There have been many ups and downs. And sometimes in our haste to get on to the next thing and on to the next challenge, we neglect to truly celebrate the moment. I mean, most of you are already thinking about the bar exam, right? But tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So don't forget to pause and give thanks for the blessing that has been bestowed upon you today, and for those people in your lives that helped you turn your dream into a reality. Thurgood Marshall once said, "None of us gets where we are solely by pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We get there because somebody, a teacher, a pastor, a parent, a sibling, bent down and helped us pick up our boots." So be sure to thank the special people who helped you get to this day, the people who made numerous sacrifices for you to be here, the people who patiently listened to you, probably sometimes ad nauseum, the people who encouraged you, who supported you financially and emotionally, and the people who propped you up whenever you faltered. And so now what? Now what? You've got the JD, you got it in your hand, or you will shortly. So who are you now? What are you now? And what's expected of you going forth? Of course, you'll each find answers to these questions for yourselves, but I'd like to offer you some suggestions for what you may want to factor into your thinking as you ponder what's next. First and foremost, and I heard your student speaker talk about this as well, be honest in everything you do and protect your integrity, and remember to be yourself. Be authentically you. You each possess unique talents and gifts that you will bring to the practice of law. And so resist the tendency that I think we all have to covet the talents that others have, and instead focus on nurturing the talents that you have. Be intentional about nurturing the intellectual curiosity that law school has awakened in you by not settling for the obvious or the superficial answer. Dig deeper. Dig deeper. You can't possibly know everything. None of us can. So don't just eat out of your own hand. Instead, stay engaged with the world around you. Stay out of that closed-looped system where you're only listening to the people that agree with you. Be open to new ideas. Be open to other ways of viewing the world. You and your clients will be the better for it. Secondly, remember that it is a privilege to be a lawyer. It is a privilege that has been bestowed upon you today. Several years ago, I was at an appellate judges conference, and the former president of the ABA, Stephen Zach, spoke. And in his opening remarks, he mentioned that of all the professional titles he holds, out of all the accomplishments that he has to his credit, he is most proud to be called an officer of the court. And when I look back on my own career, 20 years of practice and nearly 14 years on the bench, and the various professional titles that I too hold, even the title of justice. And of course, I must tell you, I'm humbled, very humbled, to be called Justice Hudson. But with all of that, I tell you that it is an extraordinary privilege and honor to be first and foremost an officer of the court. That is the title of which I am most proud. And now you too, stand on the cusp of becoming officers of the court. You are the new custodians of our legal profession. It is wonderful to look out and see your bright young faces. You are the new custodians of the profession, and I would say indeed of our democracy. Of course, the profession isn't perfect. I don't need to tell anyone in here that. As lawyers, we have provided the grist for untold lawyer jokes, and you will always hear them. But here's the thing. When life goes south for people, when trouble strikes, they usually look to lawyers for help. They're going to be looking to you. It is to lawyers that people entrust their most pressing concerns and difficult problems, be it a marital dissolution or personal injury or employment disputes or criminal charges or bankruptcy or some multi-million-dollar merger. And thus, as lawyers, we have the incredible privilege and opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives. America is a society based on the rule of law and justice. And as lawyers, we have the chance with each client we serve, or as a judge, each case that I decide, to make that ideal of justice a reality. And frankly, I think that's why many of you came to law school, and in particular this law school, in the first place, to make a difference in the lives of your individual clients and in your communities. And so in all that you do and all that you say, respect and honor the privilege you have to be called an officer of the court. And finally, the legal profession will afford you financial rewards, and there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But being an officer of the court is about so much more, and I heard your dean refer to that already today, and looking at your program and the hours of public service that you all have already contributed to your communities, and I applaud you for that, because that's a part of what it means to be an officer of the court. Being an officer of the court requires that we give as much to the profession as we take. Thus, I hope that you will continue to use your incredible talents to help the many people around our state who cannot afford a lawyer. Indeed, the judicial system itself belongs to the people of Minnesota. And thus, justice is not simply for those of us who have access to it by virtue of our wealth or our position. It is our obligation as lawyers to ensure that the less fortunate in our community have that same access as well. I hope you will continue to embrace the notion that, as Dr. King once said, we all live in what he called a web of mutuality. The idea that we all do better when we're willing to look out for one another and not just for ourselves, so that what affects you affects me. That not only should my children be safe and have a good education, but yours should too, and your neighbors should too, and that person's child should too. Dr. King said it best when he recounted the story of the Good Samaritan and observed the first question that the priest and the Levite asked was, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? But the Good Samaritan turned that thing around and reversed it and said, no, no, no. The question is, if I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? What will happen to him? The Minnesota Rules of Professional Conduct set an aspirational goal of 50 hours of pro bono services a year, a lesson that has already been instilled in you here at this law school. There will always be competing demands on your time. Being an attorney is not a 9-to-5 job. But do your best, do your very best to commit to that particular pro bono goal and seek for others the justice that you demand for yourselves. Seek for others the same justice that you demand for yourselves. When we do that, as lawyers, when we do that, we reflect the very, very best of this wonderful profession that we belong to. And so with that, on behalf of Chief Justice Lori Gilday and all of my colleagues on the Minnesota Supreme Court, let me extend again my heartfelt congratulations to the students and your families. This day is yours. Savor it. Don't rush by it. Mark it. Mark it and use it to strengthen you and embolden you for the many journeys ahead. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Hudson. It's customary at this point of our celebration to introduce the faculty member who this class has selected as Professor of the Year. So I now call to the podium the class of 2016's Professor of the Year, Mark Osler. Professor Osler writes and teaches for impact. He has been at the forefront of efforts to reform the criminal justice system in this country on a range of issues, and his teaching is an outgrowth of his advocacy. He doesn't simply teach students how to function in the current legal system, he teaches them how to visualize a more just system and how to work to make it a reality. Notably, his teaching does not stop at the end of class. When I walk by his office, his frequent posture is leaning in, listening intently to a student, encouraging a deeper dive into the subject. He is a treasured member of the St. Thomas Law School community. Class of 2016, please give one more rousing cheer for your Professor of the Year, Mark Osler. Congratulations. I'll send you over here. Yes. Okay, now is the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's proceed with the hooding ceremony. Associate Dean Joel Nichols will be calling out and pronouncing with exquisite precision the graduates' names. Professor Osler will be hooding each graduate. I will congratulate you and present you with a small token of our grateful appreciation. Our university president, Dr. Julie Sullivan, will give you a hearty handshake of congratulations and a memorable photo opportunity. On that note, we have retained a professional photographer who will be taking an excellent photograph of your favorite graduate with Dr. Sullivan. So friends and family, I would ask that you please refrain from rushing the stage to take a photo during the hooding ceremony. Thank you.
receiving degrees in organizational ethics and compliance. Devin Alexander, LLM. Thomas Brascia, LLM. Graduates receiving the LLM in U.S. Law. Mengdi Tsai. Carlos Cami. Chai Ning. Xiaoyang Chong. Felipe Correa. Wandwosan Joseph Darcebo. Paola Doro. Gustavo Gamboa. Jose Garcia. Andres Gocolea. Santiago Granados. Solomon Tashome. Lei Yuan. Zheng Li. Astrid Lima. Weidi Liu. Gonzalo Perez Cruz. Reynold Rodriguez. Priscilla Rodriguez Ibarra. Jesus Saracho. Damini Sharma. Lorena Tamayo. Juan Jose Tanhus. Chong Wang. Samuel Perhanu. Graduates receiving the Juris Doctor degree. Asad Amini. Rachel Louise Arneson. Cynthia Ayang Assam. Jill Marie Barreto. Lauren Beadnell Perkins. Omid Berengian. Sarah Berengian. Matthew Blubaugh. Brooke Borkenhagen. Mackenzie Bosshard. Catherine Allison Bowers. Daniel Braddock. Amanda Jean Broadheg. Taylor Ann Sophia Budensick. Alexa Bula. Jordan Reed Byring. Kelly Michelle Castellano. Jared Craig Cheney. Sung Kyu Choi. Benjamin Douglas Sahansky. Christopher James Clark. Casey Catherine Clemens. Samuel J. Cook. Charles Connor Cremens. Christopher David Damian. Rachel Davis. Caitlin Lee Drogemuller. Rose Martha Dubbs. Jennifer Lynn Dunham. Graham Ellis. Christian Engel. Moya Alexandra Finity. Eric Foster. Chris Fromness. Morgan Christine Faye Fuller. Sarah Gangelhoff. Cameron Brady Goff. Sarah Greethurst. Catherine Gross. Terry Ruth Gould. Kyle Hahn. John Mark Robert Halstead. Bethany Rebecca Hanson. Wesley James Harvey. Patrick Daniels Hauswald. Laura Hurl. J. Michael Hinner. Andrew J. Hoagland. Dana Marie Hoffman. Corey Robert Hubers. Sydney Laverne Hull. Nadine Ibrahim. Elisa Michelle Jancic. Alex Johnson. Michael Kelly. Unjin Kim. Christian T. Kircher. Kenneth Robert Knapp. Travis William Kowitz. Nicholas Alexander Leben. Hannah Mabel Marie Lindeberg. Being hooded by his uncle and member of the Board of Governors, Brian Short, Paul Robert Lucky. Zachary L. Lingus. Robert Maloney. Mark Maratz. Connor Marinan. Megan Marty. Michael McSherry. Kevin James Niedenfuhr. Ngiri Nachi. Jocelyn Elizabeth Norman. Chloe Alexandria O'Neill. Gustavo Ortiz Reynoso. John Pavelko. Brent Peterson. Jacob Ray. Catherine Lee Rennie. James Robbins. Matt Roloff. Anne Rondoni Tavernier. Kyle Robert Schaefer. Elizabeth Shenfish. Tony Schmidt. Chloe Rhiannon Sershan. Jeremy R. Singleton. Casey Smithley. Travis Lee Starks. William Mark Strand. Matthew James Tone. Derek Tuft. Jacob William Teedy. Will Torhorst. Jennifer Marie Tripp. Catherine Laird Underwood. Heidi Vandenberg. Natasha Maria Van Lieshout. Brian M. Westrick. Courtney Whedon. Andrew Wolf. David Allen Yates. And Bradley Yenter, the class of 2016.
I now invite to the podium the President of the University of St. Thomas, Dr. Julie Sullivan, who will formally confer the Juris Doctor and LLM degrees on our graduates. Dr. Sullivan?
Thank you, Dean Vischer. And good afternoon to all of you on this truly joyous occasion. I am so pleased and honored to participate in this graduation ceremony for the class of 2016. The School of Law has been a great source of pride for me, for our Board of Trustees, and for the members of the School of Law Board of Governors. We are very proud of the outstanding work of the law faculty and staff as they have built, nourished, and sustained this excellent program. And we are most proud of you, our 13th class of JD graduates, and our second class of graduates in our compliance and LLM and U.S. law degree programs. I truly look forward to hearing about all that you will be achieving, not only as outstanding legal professionals, but also as tremendous leaders in your families, your communities, and throughout the world. Congratulations, and I wish you the very best. And now, I would like to ask the graduating class of 2016 to please rise. Upon the recommendation of the faculty, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I, Julie Sullivan, President of the University of St. Thomas, confer upon you the degrees from the University of St. Thomas to which you are entitled, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, you did it. Now please be seated. Thank you.
I have to mention, did you notice how half-hearted that cap toss was? That's how lawyers toss their caps, because we're so aware of the potential tort liability that can arise from this. Anyway. In addition to congratulating the class of 2016, there are other people to thank as well. Each of the members of this class have parents, spouses, children, loved ones who have been there for them these past 3 years, who have provided love and support. And so can I invite the members of the class of 2016 to rise and thank your loved ones. Thank you. So I don't know about the rest of you, but today has already been successful for me because I finally received a Valentine card from Sarah. So or at least a forged Valentine card from Sarah. So this is the last time I'm going to have you together as a captive audience, so I want to exercise the dean's prerogative to give you one more admonition. I want you to keep the sense of community you've had as a class going after you walk out of here today. I mean, that was the underlying theme of Sarah and John's remarks here, is that you belong to a unique community that others do not have that same formative experience. And it's been relatively easy over the past years because you show up in the same place every day. It's going to get harder because you're going to disperse to different places. So I encourage you to pick up the phone, send the text, show up. Keep the circle of connection that you have going here. But it's going to require being more proactive than you've had to be in the past. But don't just stay in touch with each other, stay in touch with us. We love to hear from alumni about what you're doing, where you're headed, how we can help. Many of you heard me talk way back in an admitted applicant event before you enrolled. And one thing I emphasize is that you will be just as much a part of our law school community when you're out there in the profession as when you were sitting in class. Community was an important part of your experience here, and it's even more important for the years to come. So cherish what you have here and keep it going. Now, 4 quick housekeeping announcements as we conclude. First, I would encourage you all to post photos and favorite law school memories on Instagram and Twitter using the hashtag USTLawMN. Second, I invite you all to a reception in the Schultz Grand Atrium of our law building, which is just a few blocks away, straight down 11th Street. And if your favorite graduate cannot direct you how to get there, then I have some serious questions about their class attendance the past 3 years. Third, for those of you who might have some difficulty navigating that walk, we have shuttle buses that will pick you up right in front of the hotel. Finally, could I ask our guests today to remain seated until the platform party, our faculty, and the members of the class of 2016 have left the hall? Thank you very much. And now platform party, faculty, and graduates, please rise.